Okay, hello everyone. Here we are live on Tuesday Tales. So I am Helen Harwood Snell and I provide language alchemy for your business growth through communication intelligence and storytelling. And each week I introduce a new guest. So we're going to learn a little bit about their business and their personality. And then I get them to share a story so that I can show you how you can create storytelling for your business. So we are joined today by Natalie Runoff, and I want to make sure, am I pronouncing that correctly, Natalie?
It's runoff or runoff. Everything
Runoff
works.
or Runoff? Okay. Which do you prepare? Runoff?
Runoff is
Runoff.
how it's
Okay.
originally sound. Yeah.
Okay, there we go. So I want to share with the audience deep gratitude for Natalie joining me today because
Okay.
I literally invited her yesterday and we've just kind of gone through all the maneuvering to get her on here today. So much appreciated that you took the time to do this, Natalie. We're going to talk a little bit about your life and your business. And I always like to throw people off by starting with a question about tell me who you are outside of your work. Tell us who is Natalie.
Hmm. Good question to start with. Thank you, Helen. Thank you for having me. It was, I think, much made in heaven. I had time today, and you had a cancellation, so it's
That's
all
excellent.
came together very well. I'm Natalie Runoff, and outside of my business, I am a mother of three. I am a wife of 32 years, believe it or not.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And I'm a volunteer. I volunteer and mentor in several organizations in Canada. And I'm just like to have fun.
So tell me what you do for fun.
I try to have fun everywhere. Like if I do something and it's boring, I would make it fun. But generally, what I like to do, I like comedy. I like good comedy. And I
Excellent.
do like to, if I write my speeches, I like to make it comic as well. So I would go to ChatGPT or somewhere and try to turn it to kind of stand-up comedy style speeches.
Oh, I love that.
And when we are with kids, we always try to do something which we really enjoy, go somewhere we like, and just have fun.
That's fantastic. I love what you said that, you know, whatever you do, you make fun because what's the point, right? If we're not having
Exactly.
fun. And
Exactly.
I also love the idea that if you're doing a presentation, you try and do it like a stand-up comic. I find myself caught in that sometimes. I love, you know, kind of tongue-in-cheek remarks, and I find myself trying to do that sometimes on social media posts, but not everyone gets the humor, so you have to be careful
True.
about that.
True. True.
Yes, for
Yeah.
sure. So tell me three things that are really important to you in life.
Of course, family, right? I am because I'm a mother, and I also have a cat. I have a husband to take care of. So family and relationship would come first for me. Second, I like leadership. I do really enjoy leadership. I think I was given that gift, and I really like to explore it and teach people to be leaders as well. And the third one, I love study. My husband would be like on and off about that now because I have like a wall of diplomas, and he's like always like, look at that diploma. Look at all of this. Yeah, so I do love reading and studying and self growth, all this stuff.
Excellent, excellent. Well, those are certainly things that blend in perfectly to your business. So why don't you tell us more about what you do in your work?
Well, I need to start a little bit earlier because first steps in a business I did when I was 19. And it was just right after Soviet Union broke down and Belarus became independent country. And I was dating my husband yet, that he wasn't married. We weren't yet married. And I said, okay, how about we start a business? And he's like, okay. So we started that our first steps into the business. And in by the in 5 years, we grown it to approximately 150 employees.
Wow.
So that's when it became very complicated, and my background in finances very quickly become not enough. So I went and I studied HR, and I become a director of HR in our company. And after that, I just decided that we have too much to handle. When we would go to vacation or somewhere on a business trip, we constantly would be on the gadgets and we try to fix the problems and everything. And that's when we start to work on our processes inside the company to create a system which would allow it to work itself. So we just can go anywhere, but the system would work and people would be in charge. And that's when I start to learn that you lead people and people lead processes. So your job is to grow people and the people will take care of processes. When after that, it was a couple of very smooth years when we would just travel everywhere and had a lot of fun in life because we were not having children that time. And I started to think that I really want to have a family. And where I would have a family, I decided to move to North America. And my husband was not even a big fan of it, but he followed, and we came to Canada. And here I started the family. We had 3 kids in 7 years. So my career moved from being in charge of 150 plus employees and having a lot of system and operations and everything else to being a mom of screaming bundle. And I remember I was holding that my firstborn and I'm like, okay, and what I gonna do now? Like how I can bring everything together. And that's how I started to explore what people do and what generally can be done, because I very quickly realized that balance do not work. Balance is good, and historically balance was invented for mothers who entered the workforce in 60s and 70s and 50s but they were employees. There is nothing was done for, and nobody was even thinking that women would be like so ambitious to make entrepreneurship. So nothing was done for entrepreneurship, not so much how women who ambitious enough to want to have more than just a stay-at-home mom, what she can do, how she can combine that. And it took me a while to do try and error. And finally, I found a solution which went beyond balance, and it's integration. So for me, I start to focus on integration and create a system which would allow women and men who want to spend time with the family and who want to grow profits as well to create that synergy and use it to have both in the same time without having guilt and sacrifices. So that's what I do now.
That's amazing. I love that, you know, the whole story. We're often, as entrepreneurs, we're a product of something that we needed in our lives, and that's why we become the entrepreneur we are. And you certainly described that in your story. I have never heard that before. The idea of providing integration rather than providing balance, because that's the word that we always seem to hear. How do we manage that work life balance? And so integration is such an interesting angle to bring into that. And
Absolutely.
it is, am I assuming then this is something that you created yourself? This is not a system of, some other brand that you have adopted into your coaching and teaching. This is a system that you've developed yourself.
That's true. Of course, I didn't develop it in the desert. It was a lot of studying before that, and a lot of different people who I know who became my coaches too,
Yes.
created, like, gave me that knowledge which become base for that system. And that system, I called it blend, blend, which is integration. And there's a 5-step system which, if you follow, it's applied to your business, to your personal life, to your family. And what exciting about it, it gives a gift to kids. to follow steps right from the beginning, have that, path to success without trying something, by founding by themselves. So they can just, because their parents follow it, it's become natural for them to have that too. So they kind of integrate pieces of puzzles in their life as well, seamlessly. And it's create that smoothness and pretty much no sacrifices, because it's your choices now, right? The sacrifices come from, remember, in the medieval age or before that, ancient, people sacrifice something kind of to, like, give me that, please give me that, and I would give you something valuable, but you give me something to handle the situation and strength or whatever, rain. In this particular case, because you lead your way, because you lead your life and you own your life completely, it's become natural process. You do not feel sacrificed. You feel that you manage and you lead your way to your desired outcome.
Excellent. And I hear the word lead in there. So there is leadership in this process as well, where you're leading your own life, but you're also leading your children, which goes along with, one of your priorities is leadership. And so that's a real natural way to do something that is important and natural to you, to bring that into the business. Sounds like a fantastic program. How does your program work? Do you provide a mentoring program, or is it a course people buy? How does that work?
Yes, I am now working on my course. Actually, I'm launching my webinar at the end of March, and that would lead to the course. I still decide in 6 or 8 weeks. But generally, it's depend what the person need. Sometimes you just need to start, so that's when course come handy. But some people already know certain things and they just much more in depth to it. And in this case, we go with the program. I have 3 months, 6 months, and 1 year. So they always can start with 3 months, see how it works. Is it what they want? And after that, we move on to, if they want to, we will move on later on a longer period.
Absolutely. And again, it's great that you're offering different options, because different personalities need different things. Some people need hand holding. Some people are, maybe a little bit like yourself, that they're self-studiers. They're going to go and dig in and figure things out on their own in this course. So that's great options too. And I'm sure different things for different budgets as well, which is really important for entrepreneurs, because we're all at different places on our journey.
Yeah, thank you for giving me credit, but I'm telling you, I had so many people in my life who hold my hand, and I still have them. I'm now, with all my knowledge and everything, I have 5 coaches.
Wow.
I
Well, you know
have,
what? That is, as much as you've said it's other people holding your hand and not to take the credit to you for having coaches, because that's in my opinion, a very huge part of being a successful entrepreneur is at least having one coach to guide you through whatever area of business you need. And you are way ahead of that with 5 coaches. So tell me a little bit more about that. Do they each cover a different aspect of the business for you?
yes. Yes, I do have a coach who teach me to speak, how to write speeches, how to, structure them, and how to generally, because there is one is can be like 60 seconds and one is 1 hour. What is the difference, right? Not so much actually. You just fill up that, but the structure is the same. So
Yes.
I'm learning that. I am learning with performance coach, who is pretty famous person, by the way, but later on about that. So he is teaching me to performance, stage performance, how to perform on the stages. Another coach is marketing coach, because I am. Yeah, I would say I'm stuck at marketing, honestly speaking. It's something which
You can't
I
be good at
don't
everything.
know. Yeah, so that's the part which she really pushing on me, and she's very motivated and great person. So I'm grateful for that. I also have a speaking coach, because as you can see, I speech coach, because I have an accent. So for me, for people to understand me, I love my accent, but for people to understand me, I need a little bit of twinkle of that, right? So I need to some direction how to do that more properly. And the last one is actually my mindset coach. She is absolutely amazing person, and she make me go. Sometimes I calling her like, fix me, fix me. Something wrong with me. I cannot get it. I don't know why. And she's like, okay, let's work. Because I believe that everything starts here. So if you fix it here, it's already halfway. So,
Yes,
yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely. I would agree with you on that one. I was on a call with my coach earlier today and we went through a couple of business things. And then she said, okay, next session, this is what we're going to work on. And then I said, oh, good, no homework today. And she was like, no, here's some homework for you. And it all had to do with mindset. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I would tell you,
yeah.
I studied in Australia. My certification, coaching certification, came from Australia. And it's an amazing company which do that in Sydney. And what they do, they give you a lot of knowledge about how neuroscience work, like how your brain process information and how it goes, how it's flow between three brains. Such amazing knowledge to have generally, because you can know when you do something, you know where you're stuck, right? Like, and we often get stuck in that feeling brain where emotions running wild and we just,
Yes.
okay, I need to do something. And that's when person who can help you with that, who can just put you on the right path, is super, super important.
Yes. Excellent. Excellent. Okay. So we know the story of what drew you into your business. What can you offer as far as, I think this is a question that I always love to ask entrepreneurs because I think it's so important that you understand the value that you bring into your business. So, from personal experiences, from previous experience, from life experience, whatever it has been, what do you feel that you bring into your coaching business to help people find that, I'm not going to say balance, find that integration for their personal life and their business life? What do you feel that you offer that's very unique in that field?
One of the things which I have is I go straight to the root of the problem, because I believe that whatever you do, if you do not fix the root, you would not be able to go quick enough. It's
Yes.
just in your garden. If you pull weeds, just pulling them without pulling the root out, it would always grow back, and it would be much more problem than before, right? So you need to take that out together with the
Right.
root. So that's one which I'm listening a lot. I usually when I'm coach, I'm not talking much because I listen what people bring, what they're thinking, how they think, where's the problem. So it gives me that big perspective, big picture, where to start to dig that root. Right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
after that I am quite good with systems. So we just, okay, this is the problems, this is the system, how to build it up. So you can take that system and it's gonna be that scalable structure, which I always compare it to the trunk. So we just grow that trunk of the tree, and after that you can grow that branches on top of that as you wish and as you go. And of course, it's a well-rounded approach. You cannot just fix the business situation. Of course, we can do SWOT analysis, KPIs, all of these items, but without making you a leader of yourself, the owner of yourself, and manager of yourself, you cannot employ it to your life, right? So my idea is to grow you. I grow you, I invest in you, I make you your own coach at the end of the day. So my idea is I don't want to be your coach for the rest of your life. I want to make sure that you become your own coach. And after that, you can grow anywhere around you, your employees, your kids, your
Yes.
partner, your
Yes.
cat, I don't know.
Very good. And again, I love that idea. You do hear a lot of business coaches that may give you a system or a process, but I love the fact that you start with that root first, because as you were saying before, when you're building this integration, this integrative system, if you will, it's your life and it's how you direct it. So if you're not at the root or the core of what really matters to that person, you're not going to build a system that they will want to operate in, right? And so then they're not going to thrive, and that tree is not going to grow. So
Very,
that's
very
a,
true.
yeah,
And
beautiful,
another
beautiful
thing which
approach.
I just add to it very quickly.
Yeah.
If you are a parent who know and who already experience that, so you already negotiated for your kids to have that last chocolate chip cookie. You already well prepared to deal with HR problems and with your employees who is fighting over the budget or something like this. So you
Yes.
always can use that synergy, because what I found over the years, that how close is parenting and business actually is, and sometimes how close they are. Sometimes I said I'm a mother of 3 kids and mother of 5 businesses, right? Because that's what you are. You grow them, and
Yes.
just as your business grow with you and the child grow with you, you start to approach that differently. You cannot approach business who is 3 years old and business which is 5 years old same way, just like you cannot approach 3 years old kid and 5 years old kid. It's a
Yeah, such
different
a great
approach.
analogy. Yeah. And that's, I can resonate with that, because as a communication coach, I can see that, the relationship that you want to build with your client is very much the same as a relationship that you might want to build, or you should want to build, with your child, right? It's all about
Absolutely.
communicating, connecting on values that matter to them, and making sure that the communication that you're using is actually speaking to the values of that person. So whether it's a child, whether it's a romantic partner, whether it's a business associate, it's all about that communication. That's been so great. I'm so curious to see when you have your webinar come out, because I would love to learn more about this blend system. And what I like to do now to wrap up the show is I like to show the audience how you can bring storytelling into your business to make that. You were talking about neuroscience earlier, and there is a neural pathway that you actually make when you tell stories. So often telling a story is a great way to build a bridge, to get trust with your client, to let them get to know you, and to take away the fear often that we have if someone's making a sales presentation to us. If we can share a story, it actually changes that dynamic in the brain. So
Hmm.
I would love for you to tell me just a little snippet of a story, something that you think would be interesting to share. And then I'm going to build that into a story that would connect to your business. That's a way that you can make a bridge from, a personal observation, a personal event, into something instructive or inspirational about your business. So do you have something that you can share with me on that?
Yeah, I'm so excited actually. Yeah. Okay. So here's the fact that not so many people knows. Soviet Union was the first country in the world which bring equal rights to women and men and make women vote. So it allow by constitution for women to vote, and it was 1917. And since that, 15 Republic of Soviet Union and all the Eastern Bloc, women, they had this ability to choose what they want to do. However, it was on paper. In real life, the culture still was there. The culture that mother and woman is a heart of the house, anchor of the house, need to do all the work. And so that's this balance actually made women be very, very creative. And I was part of this experience when I saw several generations of women, several cultural backgrounds making this change. Very fascinating.
Wow, that is absolutely fascinating. So 1917, you said women had the right to vote.
Yeah.
And then they also had the right or the ability to work if they chose to work outside of the home. That was
Yes.
combined with that experience. Okay, so yeah, so I mean, obvious tie historically would be to your own background on that, but I'm going to try and make a different spin. So this is what I would create with this story. As part of this would be as if you're speaking. As part of my background from coming from Russian descent, I came from generations of women who had very early the ability to vote and work outside the home and saw the struggle of what that looked like in real life. And what I find now in the business environment is that we tend to think things are easier. We can have conversations like we're having right now on a Zoom call. We've got computers, we've got all sorts of mechanisms to make our lives easier. But unless we have our priorities in mind, unless we start with the root of the value system that we have in our lives, we're never going to be happy in anything we do in business or in our personal lives. So I've taken that whole idea and put that into a system that I call blend, which is a way that you integrate the values of your life into your life and your business. How do you think
Wow.
that sounds?
I love it. I really love it. You know what?
Awesome.
I know that you're in Ottawa too, right?
Yes, just outside
Oh,
of Ottawa.
that's it. I own you a coffee and a lunch.
We will do that. I was thinking of that. So, just for the audience, information wise, we met on a Zoom call online yesterday and only found out that she was in Ottawa after she agreed to do this call with me because often I have calls with people all over North America and we're within an hour of each other probably. So, that's fun. We will get together and have a conversation. I want to thank you again, Natalie, for joining me, and I am so curious to learn more about your work. Thank you for audience members who have popped in and off the call. I've seen some people who have joined. And again, if you're watching on a replay, please give us a comment. You can connect with Natalie through Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook under her name, Natalie Runoff, and learn more about her fantastic business. And I want to just share with you that stories in any place in our lives, whether it's a story about walking your dog or driving to work or something that happened in the grocery line, can always be made into some kind of business story that you can share with your audience, whether it's in a presentation, whether it is in a sales meeting, whether it's from the stage or just on social media. There's always a place to use story to make that connection